NCRP Productions presents Dread by The Impossible Dream, The Mothman Chronicles, Character Design and Creation.
So you guys were playing a group of friends from childhood. You were all really good friends. On junior year, you guys, after prom, were going to a party in the TNT area. So an interesting thing about Point Pleasant, West Virginia, is that in the 40s, there was something built there called the West Virginia Ordnance Works, which is where they made ammunition. And it was a massive production. It was basically like a small city out in the middle of the woods. And they stored all of the TNT explosives in these concrete igloos. There's 104 of them in the woods. And over the years, they've been broken into or they've exploded and become open to the public, and it's become a local hangout spot for the locals. So you guys are relatively familiar with the area just for parties and exploring as kids. Most likely you did not ever go into the actual West Virginia Ordnance, I'm going to call it the factory area from going forward, because it's, number one, it's about 6 miles through the woods, and also it's private property, and they used to patrol it really carefully, and most of it's been demolished, so it's kind of more abandoned now.
What was it called? West Virginia?
The West Virginia Ordnance Works.
And that was a government thing, right?
Yeah, it was built in response to World War II.
It shut down as soon as we dropped the bombs on Hiroshima. I think it was short time, like a week.
Yeah, and it was open
like
from
a month.
from 43 to 46 is the only time it operated, and it was this big, huge production for just nothing.
They were making bullets for the war, right?
They're huge. They're
it was
huge
only open
concrete.
for 3 years?
Basically, yeah.
There were huge concrete buildings. They're monster concrete buildings.
Super big. It's like, I want to say it's like, it employed 5,000 people. There was like a whole town there. There was dorms. There was office spaces, repair shops, 2 well water fields. There was a dock, power plants, magazine areas, and rail yards. Plus these big, huge actual factories where they made the stuff. So the igloos are abandoned, and I'm not sure exactly when, but at a certain point they discovered that they were actually seeping toxic chemicals into the ground and into the water. And so it became part of this big cleanup thing. And it's now known officially as the McClintock Wildlife Management Area. This is just stuff you guys would know from growing up in town.
That's funny, wildlife management area's been...
Yeah.
Hazardous chemicals been seeping into the ground, now it's a wildlife refuge.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And
It's a
so
nice rebranding.
most of this game is going to take place in the TNT area and in the ghost town of the Ordnance Works factories. As we get into like the characters, you guys can think about how much would you know about the history, how much would you have paid attention to and retained. You know, is it very interesting to you? And if you have questions, if it's appropriate, we can discuss it in game too. So that's kind of where you're going to be. And then, so yeah, going back to what happened. So after prom, you guys were going to a party out in the TNT area, and one of your friends went missing. And we'll kind of get into sort of what happened as we go, but the main thing that you guys know is that one minute he was there, the next he wasn't. And you looked for him and found no hide or hair of him. He's been missing for 2 decades. And we're going to pick up at the funeral for his remains. That's about 2 decades after he went missing. And you guys we'll talk about where you heard about it and what you were doing when you found out about it.
Yes, we're like in our late 30s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Early 40s, whatever.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
You got it.
Well, we all need to be within probably about 4 years of age of each other, so we should pick an age.
Yeah, so Eddie was 17 when he went missing.
And that was 20 years ago, specifically?
No.
Well, we would probably be closer than within 4 years, because if it was all...
You guys would have all been friends in high school, so you have,
that's what I'm saying.
Like
4
within
years
a year,
ago.
it seems. Or
Probably
Yeah.
within 2 years, yeah.
So I think around
yeah.
36, 37, maybe 38 if you got held back or something, that would make sense.
I mean, if you were 4 years younger, you'd be like, yeah, he just ain't figured it out. He probably dropped out.
Yeah, and so the questionnaires will kind of shape what happened immediately afterwards, and we'll just kind of feel that part out ourselves. So that's just kind of the setting. Does anyone have any immediate questions about that?
Is there anything... Are you going to go over the Mothman stuff that we would know just by living in the area? Okay, that's my next question, is just what we would know.
Okay,
And
so
that's going to go in on camera or not?
we could.
Most of what you're talking about, the basic rundown should be on camera. But
Yeah, okay, we can,
but
But the Mothman stuff is stuff that we would know.
We can go
ahead
over
of
it
time.
again, but so I'll just give you some general things that you would know about the Mothman. He's between 6 and 8 feet tall, has a wingspan of 10 to 14 feet.
It's like a local legend type thing, right?
Precisely.
Oh, yeah. Same thing like Bigfoot out here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
How
so
big a wingspan?
10 feet.
10 to 14 feet.
Yeah, and so in the 60s, two couples were out in the TNT area, and their car began being chased by the Mothman.
Oh.
And they went and reported to the police, and there was a search. On the same night, there was a farmer whose dog went missing, and it was found in the same area that the two couples reported seeing the Mothman. You know, some people consider him to be like a harbinger of terrible events or tragedies, because he's often seen around like serious events like the Ohio Bridge collapse, and then he's also been seen in like Chicago and Russia during terrible things. He's really tall. He doesn't flap his wings. His wings are leathery like a bat's, not like a moth. But he has big, huge, glowing red eyes that are described as being like 4 inches wide. And he doesn't really have a neck. He hovers. He doesn't flap his wings. That's an interesting thing to me. That's kind of like the basics of what you would know.
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, okay. So does anyone have any questions? So I'm going to talk about the dread rules a little bit in game, but do we want like a
How do we make characters?
We were going to get to there.
Oh.
We're going to read the questionnaires, and then let's pick them right now, actually.
We're picking the questions?
You're going to pick from this list of questionnaires, and you'll pick which character you want to go. I don't care which order you guys go in.
Are we naming our own characters?
Yes, you are. And because I'd like this to be a little more narratively interesting, I'm okay with you guys looking at the questions for a little bit before we start, so you can kind of formulate a little bit of your answers. And then the only thing that's important for you guys to all do is want to look for Eddie. That's the only thing that you have to do. It's however you convince yourself, just want to look for Eddie. That's what all of it hinges on.
But let's go get a beer.
Yeah, no, because...
Screw Eddie! Epilogue.
roll credits.
Beers were good.
Fuck that guy.
I'll go with Fearless.
The fearless leader.
But yeah, feel free to look it over, and then I think once you guys all have yours picked, we can probably start recording. So I'm going to go over how character generation works and a rules overview, and then we'll get into actually reading the character questions. Okay. I'm a little nervous. I wasn't expecting that. I'm a little bit nervous.
I'm going with the comic relief.
Okay. And yeah, so like map-wise, like I'm not going to be sticking very strictly to the structure of the McClintock wildlife area. It's woods. You know where you're going. One thing that is a local flavor is that there's a spot that they tell visitors to go into the TNT areas. It's a graffiti like landmarker. That's not where you guys would go.
Because we've seen that our whole lives.
Exactly. This is kind of like, like going out to the boat launch or something. This is somewhere you guys are familiar with. Not necessarily deeper into the woods, but the surface stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the whole entire McClintock area is actually like, I want to say 6,500 acres. Like, it's huge. Okay, all right.
So am I writing on the actual sheet?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll ask you about them. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading the character. I guess, yeah. Are we ready to begin?
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
I've already got a name.
Fabulous. And yeah, I'd like you guys to think of this like a thriller, suspense, Stand By Me, like, dream catchers kind of thing. Like the tone should be like you are, trying to solve a mystery that's shaped your whole lives. I think humor will be kind of just inherent in it, as it always is with our games. But the goal should be to be serious about this. That's the vibe.
You got the girl. It wasn't easy, but you got her.
And then you also have numbers by your name, and that's the order that I'd like us to do the questionnaires in, because they'll kind of build on each other.
We got what?
There's numbers by your
your
archetype. Oh yeah, and then we'll do it on camera. Okay. Yeah, I guess you guys could probably take a
Did
minute.
anybody take the name James?
Nope.
Actually, if you guys do want to fill out your questionnaires now, I guess we could chill for. I'll calm down. I'll do some mindfulness.
So are we allowed to collaborate in any way? Because in my example it says when you and the co-captain did what you did on prom night, it was
So
what did we do? And
what's your number? You're 3?
I'm 3, yeah.
Yeah. So the co-captain's going to go before you, and he's going to narrate what that is.
Oh,
Yep.
Because it says that
What's your number?
Okay, so that's kind of
I'm 2. I'm the co-captain.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's with the brother. I thought I was hiding the secret with Eddie.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are going to be highly improving, like mostly.
So should we just start? Do you want to take a moment? Do you want us to first write these down?
Let's have you
and then
guys fill out your questionnaires.
and then we can go and do it
And then what I'm thinking is we'll do an intro, I'll read the rules overview, and then we'll start talking about what your character question answers are.
Okay, so yeah.
And then from there, we'll make our 3 pools to start the game, and then we'll move into the beginning.
Awesome. Do you want me to just record this just for off-camera stuff?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Right.
What happens when the Jenga tower? Well, you'll cover that in the rules.
I will. That's a huge part of it.
Don't let it happen.
Yes, that's very bad, no good. Unless you want it to happen, then it's kind of good, not so bad.
So do we believe that Eddie was abducted by the Mothman, or we just know he went missing?
Some of your questionnaires have
Depend on how you look at it.
have a concept of what could have happened or not, and I tried to write it so that you guys could be split either way, but it's really up to you. Most of your sheets should have some kind of direction to point you in, but it's your character questionnaire. You could cross it out and write whatever you want, honestly.
It's saying here, you've had lots of time to practice your scout skills, but it didn't help you out there, not in those woods. What skill would have saved Eddie?
Yeah, that's something
So
that you
again,
would decide.
this is similar to what I was asking. I know you were kind of out of it that day, but remember when I was asking at the beginning of Aliens those questions?
Yeah, I
where
remember
left
the
it
questions.
open?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Same
understand.
thing.
Is it, it's whatever my character believes
Yeah,
would have
exactly.
saved Eddie, had I been given the chance or something.
Yeah, the goal of these questionnaires is to give you an idea of what are the morals and the sensibilities of the things that keep your character going. And it's to build as fully fleshed out of one as you can in 10 questions. So, I mean, you'll get as much out of it as you put into it. If you want to make, like, a whole thing about, like, how'd you learn how to tie a box knot, it would have, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, there's basically no wrong answer. I mean, maybe if you were, like, murdering Eddie or something. That might...
So the funeral is for his remains. Are there actual remains, or is it like a symbolic thing, or was something found?
So we will get into that, but yes, there have been remains collected.
Okay.
And you'll find out how and what they're like as we go into it more. But yeah, what you're coming into it is knowing is that they have found Eddie, they know it's him, and there is a funeral being held.
Cool. Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, this is kind of like, instead of saying, like if anyone's done improv, instead of saying no, you just always say yes and or yes however. That's how this is going to work. Is you'll just all be kind of bouncing off each other.
So everyone says Eddie got taken by a drifter, so nobody believes that he got taken by the Mothman. That's not the...
That's what your character thinks. Other people could have a completely different
Everyone's
opinion.
is written different.
Yeah. Everyone's are completely unique.
Because it says, everyone says Eddie got taken by a drifter. Everyone says Eddie got taken by the Mothman. So basically there's 2 stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like Bigfoot. If something missing here,
Okay, gotcha.
some people probably think Bigfoot could have had something to do with it. Old Squatchy.
So Sequoia, in this one, it says, always headed home, always headed back to the woods. Did you mean never headed home, always headed to the woods?
Well, however home would be taken by you, but I just mean back to Point Pleasant, specifically into those woods.
Okay.
So if you never left, then it would be always home. But if you did go somewhere else, then you would be moving back towards West Virginia.
So I kind of envisioned this character, and so the questions kind of lined up with what I had kind of pictured for this
Good.
guy, It's
Perfect.
interesting.
Yeah, and when we're doing the character questionnaires, feel free to talk about where you are in life, what's going on with you, because I don't think there's a way you could give too much information about your character. So if you're like, well, this is what he does for a living, this is where he lives, he stayed in town, he didn't stay in town, this is what, like, his social, that kind of thing, feel free to share that.
Yeah.
This is just kind of a starting point.
Yeah, so I got to pull this map back up.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to just assume that at the end of every question is like there's a share as much as you think would be relevant.
So let's see here. So Point Pleasant.
It's on the Ohio River. Oh, I had a question for you guys. It was... this is kind of a silly question. Can anyone explain to me the science behind why a chip bag inflates as you get higher in altitude?
Say it again, what?
Like if you have like a bag of Lay's and you go up a mountain and it puffs up, why?
Oh, that should be the expansion of molecules as you reduce the pressure.
Okay.
So the idea is under pressure you can push things closer together. The molecules don't buzz as much. So basically air.
That's why air is thinner, because it's further apart.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I knew one of you guys would know. And then the Rider of Dread, his last name I'm not super sure how to pronounce. It's Ravachol. And I think it's like Russian or, some kind of like...
O-L, but not O-L-S-K-Y or S-K-I?
Ravachol. Ravicol. It's kind of what I was thinking.
Ravicol sounds good to me.
Oh wow, Pedro, gold star.
Thank you.
It's not actually a competition.
Oh, what year are we in?
So this, I figure, happened.
Where's the folder? It had some notes on it for me.
I gave it to you, and then it went around the table.
Yes, and then Barry stole it.
The year, I didn't plan a specific year, but let's say, something that's comfortable within the group. Let's say, like, you guys graduated in, like, maybe the 80s.
Okay, but I guess what's important is cell phones, no cell phones.
Cell phones.
Cell phones?
Cell phone,
Okay.
GPS, if you think that would make sense.
It's later now. Okay, so...
Yeah, it's relatively now.
Okay, so if it's 20 years later, it was in the 80s, it'd be early 2000s, or like...
Did we have cell phones as kids?
No. You might have, I pictured it being like the 80s.
Yeah, so it could be 80s, and then we're in the early 2000s where cell phones are basic, so we don't
Maybe
have
you had a
smartphones.
cell phone in your car. That might
We
make
have,
sense.
like, basic, we have the internet and stuff like that, but we don't have
Do we
those
have to go to the library to do research?
No.
Get to, Josh? Yes.
Let's say that you guys have, home computers, cell phones.
Yeah.
We'll say the iPhone's been invented at this point.
When was the iPhone made?
God damn it. Okay, let's see. I had an iPhone 4 when I was 13. So, like...
2003? 4?
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
All right.
Dave's done. Josh? Okay.
2007, so about
That's when we are?
87 is when
So,
the Eddie
it's
incident.
after 2007. Do you guys want a specific date? I could, sit and think about it.
I just need to know the general time frame is what
You
I
have
remember.
access to modern technology. You could make phone calls, assuming there's service. You could Google stuff.
That's fine. Okay, so it's like 2010 then, so
Sure,
a little bit past the iPhone.
Yeah, I'll say it's 2000.
Why don't you want it to be now? Is there a
It
time
doesn't
thing?
make a real difference to me,
Okay.
and I can't imagine any real practical issues with not nailing down a specific date.
Okay, that's fine. I was just
I'm
curious.
very anti-technology, so I don't
So
know.
if it's 2021 and
technology.
we're 36, we'd be looking at 85, right?
Sure, it's not particularly relevant.
Oh yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
So we would have graduated. No, we would have been born in 85.
Yes, that's what I was saying because we would have
So
been
let's say
graduating
you guys
around.
were 17 in the late 80s.
Okay, so 17.
So it's-
About prom age,
2007.
So
Yeah,
we
so
were
2000
wow.
so
So we
I-
were born in the 70s.
Yeah.
You guys
We
are
would have
killing
been-
me.
When most of us were born in 69, 70, or 71.
Okay.
Well, no, it changes how we're going to interact because if I have a cell phone with a
You know
flashlight,
what? Let
I'm
me
not
flip
going to need
this
a
back
flashlight.
on you guys. What year would you guys like it to be right now?
I mean, I think for Dread they often say like,
It'd be cool if it was
you know,
like the 60s. It would be the 70s now.
It would have to be after the Mothman stuff is going on. It would have to be after they figured out
So
there
do
was
you want it to
radiation.
be, so the question would be, do you want it to be a generation after? So it happened 65 to 67, the whole event. So if it is 87, it's 20 years since the collapse of the bridge is 67.
Yeah, I would be comfortable with you guys being in any time period after the 1990 onwards. That would be fine with me.
so then let's just say it's like 2000 what?
Well, again,
9.
so if it's 87,
Yeah.
so we're born in 70.
No,
If
that's fine because it's
if
20
87
years.
If it's 87 when we graduated,
This is
This is
right?
the hard hitting
So that's
question.
17. So you go 20 years past that would be 2007. And we
Yeah.
need to be farther than that. So we're going to be older.
You guys could be
No.
in 2007. What I mean is that whenever the game that we're playing today takes place.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2007 would be fine. That's
Fine.
That's what I'm saying. Well, it
So
does
that-
make a difference
and
about
that
what I
would-
would
Yeah,
have.
it does, absolutely.
And that would make most of us 37.
So in conclusion, when you guys begin the game, you will be playing in 2007.
okay.
So you'll have most modern technologies, but not all.
Grunge movement has just sort of slipped away in the prime time, media.
Well, and for me, and my question of what I found, it makes a difference because I need to
Absolutely.
know what is available to
That's
me.
fine.
Yeah.
So if that changes anything in your character, thinking about you guys are now living and breathing in 2007.
We just need to know what year did Ronnie Van Zant die.
Well, you'll have to go elsewhere, Dave. That's not an answer I hold. Okay, do we feel like we're at a good place to begin?
I need just a little bit more.
Okay.
Pedro's got a lot of blank space.
He died in 77, so okay, he's been dead for a while. Boom.
All right. My whole entire
It makes
character
sense.
was
It makes sense in my character.
It's all falling apart.
It's really the Van Zant. It's the Van Zant calendar.
There's like 20 little,
Yeah. Everything's just the epicenter of existence is the Van. You know, when Ronnie Van Zant was alive, everything else is just a stem off of that. Okay. I'm playing a redneck from Kentucky.
I love it.
Named Silas.
Silas
Garretti.
Awesome. And so do you think he like moved there afterwards?
Yeah, he moved to Hazard, Kentucky.
Okay.
Because his family's got 200 acres out in the woods, and he makes moonshine.
Fabulous.
Yep.
Wow.
And he absolutely abhors technology. He thinks the government is into everything.
Love that. That's
Yeah.
a really cool angle.
Yeah,
I'm
does
excited to
not-
see
yeah.
how that goes.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, he's outback, you know, inbred to the hilt.
Well, was he inbred in West Virginia? So
Uh,
he would have had to be in West Virginia in high
Yeah.
school.
So grew up at Grandma's house.
Okay.
Grew up at Grandma's house, but the family's got land in Kentucky. And
Gotcha.
After graduating, moved back to Kentucky to help out.
He was that
Land
weird
management.
kid in school.
Yeah.
You guys were like, all right, fine.
He needed to get away from his, from this stigma that followed him around through college. He's got what he would consider to be a poor nickname, but it fits. He's always running around the woods and stuff. He's always dirty and stuff. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay. And then some potential. I mean, are there anything that you guys are like?
Silas Garretti.
Yeah, there's gonna be
Hazard.
like.
I looked up the 10 most
I think.
10 top most redneck towns in Kentucky. Right, number 4 was Hazard. So I'm like, that just sounds great. Hazard.
I love that.
There's probably some pretty redneck folk in West Virginia too, though.
Probably.
Oh shit! Yeah. Absolutely. West Virginia.
The Appalachian hillbillies.
He's making moonshine, dude. That's how he lives, dude. He sells moonshine out the back of his car. Yeah. If it doesn't say John Deere on it, he don't drive it.
That's funny. I'm enjoying. I think that's going to be really fun. But yeah, I think this is going to be fun. It's definitely, this is a little more experimental than the last time I ran Dread, but I think it's going to go in a cool direction.
Married a prom queen named Crystal.
Fabulous.
She's hooked. She's addicted to my moonshine. That's why she won't leave me. She's totally hooked.
White lightning.
Keep her filled on that swill.
White light.
Tell you, man, you can run a combine off this stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Who's fearless leader?
Pedro.
Pedro. At a certain time, I will tell you to open this and read from it.
Okay, cool.
Now, Pedro.
Okay, now.
Run away from the game master and read the note aloud.
I always want to read the secret messages. I'm like, I promise I won't use the information. I just have to know what's going on. Like, there's this letter that, like, I think someone wrote to Krell in the Old Unhallowed game. I think about it. I'm like, I wish I knew what that letter said. I'd love to read that letter right now.
Like in Gloomhaven, there's all these sealed envelopes and sealed characters that you don't unlock until you get to a certain point.
No, I can't do that.
It's like, but I want to open all the boxes in my game. Nope.
Oh, yeah.
My brother just got this, like, true crime mystery solving kit thing, and so there's steps to it, and you can't open the envelopes till you finish, like, the objective. It's so frustrating. I just want to open them all. All right, are you ready to begin? Any little last questions?
No.
No.
So, Pedro, you going to counter in?
Any potty breaks before we start? Water, etc.?
Oh, breaks. So, Sequoia is going to come to
Yes.
some kind of logical breaks just so it's not a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour single thing.
Yes.
And so what we're probably gonna have her do is she'll let us know, we're gonna ends Act 1.
Take
She's
a little
gonna-
breather.
we're gonna give her 10 seconds of basically silence, so I have a cut spot, and then we're gonna give her a 5-second count in, and you'll just say something to the effect of, welcome back to Dread, we're returning with Act 2, Act 3, and so on.
Do you want me to give you like the hour marking?
No,
or...
No, I have
Okay.
places
Don't,
built
I
in.
wouldn't even worry about that.
Okay, then yeah. So, 5, 4.
Thank you for joining us on another NCRP Productions podcast. We couldn't do this without you, so please like and subscribe everywhere we're found, including YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify, and other great podcast sites. If you'd like to help us continue making more content, we'd love to have your support on our Patreon. And if you have any feedback for us, please feel free to comment on our podcasts or email us directly at ncrpproductions@gmail.com. And we'd like to give a special shout out to our current patrons: Our Siegson Employees of the Month: F.S., Michael H., Michael P., and our Breaker of Seals: the Jones, Frank H., Christopher C., Matthew K., and the Lab.
Trademarked. Thank you all. We truly, truly appreciate it.